We've taken 9 months to grow that baby, to put on that weight. Why can't we take 9 more months or a year to lose that weight? Every plate should be balanced in things like your calcium, your magnesium, iron, and folate specifically for pregnant women. So things like your child's pose, your butterfly, using the Swiss ball movements for conceiving are very helpful. I've done that myself. So I think the first focus should be not to obsess over weight loss.
Coach Cool and Fit Mama helping other mamas be fit. Our guest today on the Settle or Be Better podcast is Ankita Sahni, who's going to be talking to us about all things pre and postnatal fitness. So welcome Ankita ma'am, and over to you. Why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about your fitness story?
Thank you so much. Thank you for that intro, Sakshi. So Mama Be Fit happened to be something that came into existence after the birth of my daughter Miraya. After she was born, we were in a COVID lockdown, and we didn't have much access to go to places to work out. I have always been into fitness, but after delivery, I wanted to get back, but couldn't because of COVID. So I didn't know who to guide me. I didn't know how you should get back to fitness, and then I realized that there's very little information about the same on the internet. There is information, but it's extremely mixed. So I didn't know what one should do after delivery. And, that's when I realized that dilemma must be something that a lot of other moms must be facing. And that's when I realized and decided to understand this subject a little more, how a woman's body is in pregnancy, how it is after, what the kind of exercises one should do, how you should eat, move, all of that. And for that, I got certified as a personal trainer first to understand the human anatomy, and then got specialized as a pre and postpartum coach. And then launched my page on Instagram, where I was initially just putting out bite-sized content, bite-sized exercises that moms could do. A lot of exercises with the baby around, because that's one challenge which moms face, that they cannot work out with the baby, and they also feel that, now that I have a baby to take care of, how do I do it? But honestly, it's very simple. And that was the idea with Mama Be Fit, to educate women on pregnancy and postpartum exercises with my own information, and of course help them work out with my own visuals of me working out with my child. So yeah, that is the journey of Mama Be Fit.
Lovely. That was a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And coming right to our topic, firstly, can you explain a little bit about what exactly are the pre and postnatal phases?
Yes. So prenatal, as it suggests, is your entire journey from the time you conceive till the time the baby comes out, so till delivery. And postpartum is soon after delivery. And I think once postpartum, you're always postpartum. So there's an immediate postpartum period, which is 0 to 6 months. But 6 months onwards, for the rest of your life, you are a postpartum woman. You are a postpartum mom. A lot of people think, okay, postpartum just means 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. No, once postpartum, always postpartum. So those would be the two distinct phases.
Understood. And what are the body's requirements in each of these phases?
All right. So, when you conceive, obviously, there are a lot of changes happening in your body because of the hormones. So there are different phases, there are different experiences that you go through in your different trimesters. So the first trimester, you will feel a lot of hormonal rush, which is why you feel a lot of fatigue, you'll feel that nausea. And in terms of the body, I think it just is a little bit more tired than you're used to, because the biggest development of the baby is happening in the first 3 months, where the organs are forming. So, you will feel tired. So that's one change. Second trimester onwards, when the hormones start settling, when you are sort of by the 16th, 17th week used to the baby inside of you, you get into a phase where the energy sort of comes back again. And as you move towards the third trimester, a lot of people will experience certain discomforts like acid reflux, because the baby is of course growing, the organs are getting squished against the baby's weight. You may have leg pain, you may have back pain, and all of that. So these are 3 or 4 conditions that you could experience throughout your pregnancy. And for this, it is extremely important to work out, not for anything, but one, for your mind to be very healthy. With so many hormones, your mind can also be racing. You can get extremely emotional. You can get agitated. You can get angry. You may just you're also very happy, of course, because you're bringing a new life. That's something that you wanted. So, the benefits of exercises outweigh everything. So that gives you a nice mood. If you're continuously working on your core, you are going to ensure that issues such as prolapse, urinary incontinence, core weakness, diastasis, all of that happens after pregnancy can happen is something that you'd at least try to minimize. Nobody can say it for sure, but at least you're working on that. And the core goes through a lot because the core is where the baby is accommodated, right? So if you're strengthening that throughout pregnancy, post-delivery, common things like backaches, common things like not being able to get out of bed easily and all of that get minimized. You're going to be lifting the baby a lot. You're going to be breastfeeding, and then that entire load is on the core. So second important thing or exercises is the core health. And third, of course, the overall body mobility. You're going to be preparing your lower body for birth. So things like your squats, butterflies, all of that are going to supplement with that. So this is the body's condition and requirement in terms of exercises. And of course, nutrition also matters. Every trimester has a different nutrition. Like the first trimester, first 4 or 5 months, we focus a lot on folate, on folic acid, because that helps the baby grow. And the second trimester will, of course, help the mom have a lot of iron, a lot of calcium, a lot of protein, because that's when the baby is growing. And when the baby is growing, he or she is obviously taking a lot of nutrients from your body, and we want the mom and the baby to be healthy. So these three aspects are the part of pregnancy. Postpartum, of course, the body is very smart. All the nutrients go to the baby through your breastfeed. So it's all the more important that you take care of your health, that all the nutrition that goes in your body is a balance between your protein, fiber, carbohydrates, good fats, a lot of water, a lot of liquids and things like that. And if you're talking in terms of how physically the body changes, like I said, in pregnancy, the core is what takes the load, and after delivery the core is what feels the load, because that's where the deliveries happen. That's where, if your core is not strong, and because of the trauma that the core has got through, you may have things like a back pain and, lower back soreness, shoulder tenderness because of breastfeeding. Sometimes leg ache if you're deficient in calcium, iron, and all of that. So again, exercises is one part to start bringing in that endurance to your body, mobility. But the main thing in the first 6 months is the nutrition that you're giving to your body, because you want that energy. You want to make sure that you're not depleted of your nutrients because you're breastfeeding and running around and you're not sleeping well. You're really just thinking so much about the baby. So that could be the postpartum phase.
Understood. That was really well explained. Thank you for that, because there's usually a little bit of confusion for people who don't have an understanding of this concept. So thank you for clearing that out. In India, this awareness has starting to build up, but there's still a gap that needs to be bridged. And, in terms of the timing of the exercise and when and how should you begin with this. So a lot of women, when they conceive, they start working out at that phase, even if they don't have a background of working out before that. So what would you say on that? Like, how safe is it, or is it a little too late, and how should these things be planned?
All right. So if you've never worked out, working out during pregnancy after your gynecologist, after your primary healthcare provider has given a go-ahead is absolutely fine. But what I tell my clients is, let's not try and attempt anything very new, very intense, right? Because you've not done it. So under the guidance of a coach, you can still go ahead and do some amount of weight training, some amount of Pilates, some amount of even very low intensity cardio, but that has to be under the guidance of a coach. Now, say you don't want to take a coaching, then I tell people, do not start anything new. Just stick to your basics, where we're just going to be walking, doing a lot of breathing work, doing a lot of simple things like squats, supported squats, butterflies, and things like that. So this is how it is. If you're under a coach, you can do something which you may not have attempted before. Without a coach, just keep it very simple. 2 things like walking, and like I didn't have a coach when I was pregnant, so I used to just stick to what I just said, which was walking and a little bit of lower body work just to open up that pelvic floor and prepare for delivery. So yeah, that's how it should be.
Understood. Like a lot of people are now going to plan their pregnancies, right? They have a whole plan of when they want it, how they want it, and usually that really works out great with timing of their life and work schedule, everything. So when they want to add workouts and fitness as a major part of it, ideally what should be the duration that one should start working out before conceiving, and what are the kinds of things that they should start including to help the pelvic floor muscles and the overall core strength, just totally, so that when they conceive it's much more easier to carry that ahead and work on their bodies.
Yeah, so, working out, whether you're trying to conceive or not, eating healthy, whether you're trying to have a baby or not, is something which is not related. That is something you should do anyway for a healthy body. So, but yes, when you are consciously going to try and conceive, have a baby, and you think you are not in the healthy BMI zone, if you think you're at a stage where moving is impossible, where you're always stuck to the desk, then of course start getting that in at least a year before or 6 months before you start planning. So I would say that's a great cutoff, where you start consciously thinking about what you're putting into your body through your meals, what is it that you're going to be working out with. And as far as exercising is concerned, honestly, if there is a certain exercise that you enjoy, you can continue doing that through through your pregnancy, through the part time that you're trying to conceive. So there's nothing special. But if you're having an issue in conceiving, that's when the trying to conceive exercises, the trying to conceive movements come in. So that's a very different part, where we focus a lot on mind-muscle connection, where we focus on reducing your stress a lot, where we try and focus on opening up your pelvic floor, making sure that your core and mind are working together. So this is very meditative, very therapeutic in nature, but that only comes in if you've been trying for a whole year and not conceived, and your doctor says, okay, along with all the treatments or all the suggestions that we're doing, exercises which are targeted to trying to conceive is also important, is something you should put in your schedule. So I would say, without any problem, when you plan to conceive, make sure you're starting to eat healthy, putting in some workouts that you enjoy. If you've been doing all of this and still haven't conceived, yes, at the end of the year, you can get in touch with a certified coach, with a physiotherapist who can tell you what are those exercises that can help you conceive. So things like your child's pose, your butterfly, using the Swiss ball movements for conceiving are very helpful. I've done that myself. Whether you have an issue or not, those are things which just sort of support the entire process a lot.
Right, understood. And say a person starts working out like 1 year or 6 months in advance with a planned pregnancy, and that's what the intention is. What are the areas that they should focus on in their exercise? I mean, obviously, like you said, they should go for whatever movement they enjoy. But what would be the specific areas of work that they should focus on?
So mobility for the whole body is very important, because you will feel the stiffness coming in with that amount of sitting when you're breastfeeding, with continuing to work when you're still pregnant. So one is that. But more than that, core health, connection breath, which is basically again connecting your mind with your entire core, which is starting from your diaphragm to your abdomen to your pelvic floor and the back multifidus muscles. These are called right at the lower back. Working that, continuing to do strength work. So strength can be through weights, strength can be with body weight, modified, of course, again under the guidance of a coach. Those are things that you should do. But definitely avoid things like high intensity interval training. If that's something you've been enjoying, then I would say don't do it. Let's bring that impact down. Unless you're an athlete, unless you've been doing it for years and you can, I would say there's no need for it. Let's build a holistic routine for you, where we do some body weight, light weight training, we do some mind meditation, we do some mind muscle connection for your core, and in general do a lot of mobility. You call it yoga, you call it Pilates, which is general mobility. I think these 3-4 things are extremely healthy during pregnancy.
Understood. Lovely. That was really well explained. Thank you for that. Now coming to the subject of nutrition, you already talked a little bit about it, but to go more into detail, obviously we know that we should be cleaning out all the junk food and the processed food that we have. So that is a given when it comes to nutrition. But what kind of nutrition do you personally believe in terms of training mothers or mothers to be? So what do you personally believe in, and how does it go with you, the whole process?
So one is, whether I'm coaching pregnant women or I'm coaching postpartum, I keep it very simple. I keep the nutrition and I tell them to keep it around what they like and what they've been having since childhood and what is local to them. So say you are someone from South India, you're used to your red rice, brown rice, white rice, millets. I'll never take that out. Stick to that because your gut is used to it. It's extremely healthy as opposed to a lot of myth that rice is fattening. It isn't. It's a beautiful food that you should have. So one is sticking to your home food, locally sourced food. Two is having a plate which is very well balanced. So not obsessing over one food item. So not obsessing over fiber or protein or carb. Making sure that your protein is good and healthy. There is a good amount of vegetable and salad on your plate and some amount of carbs. So whether that's your roti, rice, millets, quinoa, whatever you like, we put that in the plate. Now, in terms of nutrients, what is the focus is that every food, every plate should be balanced in things like your calcium, your magnesium, iron, and folate specifically for pregnant women. And as, of course, it progresses, we make sure that your protein is at least 1.2, 1.5 times your body weight because you're supporting another human being inside of you. So very simple in one line, it's just about keeping it as simple as you can, keeping it as close to your kitchen and your heart as you can, but balancing it. I mean, even if I say that sambar, rice and vegetable is good for you, that doesn't mean that you have this much sambar and vegetable and that much rice. No. How we balance it is what makes the difference, and that is the magic. And also a lot of people fear fats, right? They'll not really get into fats because fat is like, oh my God, I'm going to just put on so much weight. But what fat are you talking about? Nuts have beautiful fats. All your nut butters have beautiful fats. Avocados and things like that have great fats. So include all of that in every meal. It's going to help you synthesize the food so much more, digest it more, and even absorb the nutrients. So for example, if you are B12 deficient and you're not going to be having butters or things like, and butter could be a normal dairy butter or a vegan butter, having that in your diet is going to help you process that B12. People don't understand that. So I think just keep it balanced, simple, eat what you like, lots of fruits, lots of colors, good amount of protein at every meal, good amount of whole grains, and I think that's honestly about it.
Understood. And is there a difference between your nutrition in the first few months and say the last 1 or 2 months, the crucial months when the delivery date is getting closer? So are there some things that you should definitely avoid, or are there some special things that you should be taking care of in terms of your nutrition in the last 2 months?
Yeah, so the first trimester, which is the first 3 months of pregnancy, you need to eat only as much as you were eating before. In the second trimester, you eat about 350 calories more than what your body needs. And then in the final trimester, it's about 450 calories. So in terms of calories, it's a very little difference that you need. People end up doing a lot more because they're eating for 2. You don't need to do that. This is the only difference you need. In terms of avoiding, it is very personal. For example, if you have a lot of acid reflux, I would say avoid things which are very heavy, spicy, oily, a lot of dairy, because that can cause a lot of acid reflux. To ensure again that your protein intake is good, because that is what is going to help you be strong and your baby grow. So make sure that happens. Don't only stick to your vegetable, a simple dahi and rice, because that's good food, but it's not balanced food. So make sure that is balanced. And in terms of avoiding, I think we all know things like excessive mercury. So, in certain fishes and seafood, you will find mercury. So avoiding that. Avoiding a lot of ripe papaya. Papaya is good, by the way. There's a lot of myth around not having papaya. Eating it once in a while is okay. Of course, unless you're eating buckets of it, it becomes a challenge because it has properties which can help you dilate. So we don't want to obviously do that, but a little bit in control is okay. So that's about it. Like I said, balanced meals, doing nothing in excess is all you need.
Lovely. That was well explained, because honestly, in terms of nutrition, there's just so much confusion going around in terms of pregnancy, especially because women usually tend to have a drastic change in their nutrition. Like that's what they think it's required. And like you correctly said, that it's a great way to go about it, to just continue what they are more used to, but obviously change a few things in their diet, and the very obvious cleaning out of the junk. So that
Yes.
was a great insight. Thank you so much. And what would be the right way to approach the postnatal phase?
Yes, so very important question. So postpartum, I've seen a lot of women, they deliver and 15 days later, the only focus is to lose that baby weight. Why are we in such a rush to lose that weight? We've taken 9 months to grow that baby, to put on that weight. Why can't we take 9 more months or a year to lose that weight? All of us want to lose weight. It is good to want to lose that unnecessary weight. But please understand, you're a mom. You've just had a baby. The focus should be on enjoying that motherhood, enjoying that bond, eating what you want, eating healthily, eating things that are going to support you and your baby. So I think the first focus should be not to obsess over weight loss. The second focus should be to get moving, not sit for 3 months or 6 months and then start working out. Because a lot of people think, there's this myth again that, you cannot step out of the house or work out for 45 days or 3 months and 6 months. It's nothing like that. At 4 to 6 weeks, C-section or a vaginal delivery, you can start with basic 5-minute walking with connection breath. All of that is really going to restore your core. And then subsequently over the next 2 months till you reach the third month postpartum, do a lot of core work, very simple deep core breathing work that will get that intensity and tone back into your core, which can then help you progress to higher intensity workout. So that's how the progression should be. So eat well, get moving a little bit, include connection breath, include a little bit of deep core work. Eat balanced meals even now. Do not obsess over ghee. There's this entire thing of obsessing over ghee in pregnancy and after, because apparently it helps with delivery. Apparently it helps with, strength. But anything in excess, again, is bad. Ghee is great for you, but, you only need a little bit of it. A teaspoon or two is enough. We don't need buckets. Those laddus that we do, very good for your body. They help reduce the inflammation. They regulate your hormones. But a lot of laddus only have too much ghee and jaggery. Let's cut that down and include the other herbs a little more. Focus on your gingers, your seeds, your makhana, your dry fruits. So even if it's a dry powder of these things, it's enough. You don't have to have that laddu. Things like methi and all is excellent for you. So yeah, just focus on this and enjoy your motherhood. Do not obsess over weight loss. It's going to go. It is going to go.
Lovely. That was a great message. Definitely for all the moms out there who feel this rush postpartum, or it's either two things. Either it's too much of a rush or it's too much of a delay. So that was really well explained in finding the balance between these both things.
And a lot of women don't gain so much weight during pregnancy. It's after suddenly that they'll gain. Because like I said, there's so much that you hear that this is what you're supposed to eat. So just sitting, putting in that amount of ghee, that amount of laddu, a lot of carbs. Again, the focus is on carbs, whereas this focus should be on a lot of fiber, a lot of good vegetables, plant-based stuff, a lot of protein, a lot of water and liquids, fruits. But that focus is not there. This becomes a focus. So turn it around, interchange, and you'll see that you don't gain that extra weight while you're breastfeeding and postpartum.
Right. Lovely. That was really well explained. And lastly, are there any myths that you'd like to bust in terms of the pre and postnatal phases?
Yes, I think we've discussed a lot of myths even in the conversations, but if I had to pick, not exercising during pregnancy, not exercising immediately after pregnancy, nothing like that. You have to work with your gynecologist and a certified pre and postpartum coach to know what suits your body and, continue doing that. A lot of unnecessary ghee, a lot of processed carbs, a lot of, things like milk, dairy. You don't need that. Just be balanced. Include all of this, but in balance, and that should be good. Thinking that C-section, epidural, all of that is a big problem. This is something I feel very strongly for. Pregnancy, labor is something that is very painful. It's a beautiful experience. But if you're not going to be taking that pain medication because you think it's going to cause back pain for the rest of your life, or because you're under some pressure that the baby will get affected with that, don't do that. There's signs, there are your doctors taking care of you. If you feel the need to, please go ahead and manage your pain during delivery. So these 3 or 4 things I think are things that you should keep in mind. To look at it as a normal process of life and just enjoy it. Do not overthink.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that. And is there any message or last thoughts that you'd like to leave us with for all the moms out there?
Like I said, I want you to enjoy your pregnancy. I want you to enjoy the immediate motherhood that's coming after delivery. Do not obsess over weight. Do not obsess over rushing to that body. It's not like, you can never get back to your body that you had before delivery. You may get to a better body, It's my personal experience. I reached a weight that I had never reached in my life by doing exactly this, by not obsessing over weight loss, by eating healthy, balanced foods that I liked, by staying away from junk and processed, of course, by moving a little bit, by enjoying and working out with my baby. So I would say just enjoy, keep your mind at ease. It's very, very important. Do not get into peer pressure where maybe one friend has lost more weight than you have, or one person has bounced back. Celebrities have bounced back in a month. They may have their own challenges. We're not in a competition to bounce back to looking the thinnest versions of ourselves. That doesn't make you a successful hot mom. What makes you a happy mom is just being happy from within. So just do that. And of course, it's good to be conscious, work out, eat healthy, and you'll see the magic that is your body. It will come back to its own self on its own.
Lovely. That was a lovely message. Thank you so much for that. That is all for today's episode. And for the ones who'd like to reach out to Ankita ma'am, you can find the details in the description below. Definitely reach out and maybe train with her, because she'll be a great person to have as your coach, certainly because she has personally gone through all of these things, and you can definitely look at her Instagram, her posts, and there's so much insight with that. So thank you so much again, Ankita ma'am, for gracing our podcast today. That was all for today. I am Sakshi Pawar. I'll be your host for the Settle or Be Better podcast. Stay tuned while we bring more inspiring stories your way. You know the drill. Subscribe to the Settle or Be Better podcast. Like, share, and comment on our videos. And hit the bell icon, because you don't want to miss the mind-boggling health discussions we're about to bring for you. Why settle when you can be better?